And I think that's something, and that's a common thing for men, is that as I've coached a lot of men and have read a lot of books on male psychology and whatnot in relationship, that men will tend to view sex as more of a closeness thing. And women don't realize that about men. And they don't necessarily see that. They're like, oh, there's other ways to be close. But then I think it's good to experience that, to say, oh, actually it does make a difference in the closeness. Because when you're without it for a long time, then you can sort of feel how that is.
And there are still differences with men and women in regards to sex, because like we could have like a very emotional conversation and you're like ready to go. Because like you just said, like you want that closeness.
Right.
But as a woman, a lot of times it's like, I'm mentally still processing all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's very mental for women. So it's like if something's still going on, and that's also why when we were in the gridlock thing, like it didn't keep us from being intimate, but the mental talk in my head of like, oh, am I doing this enough? Like, am I going to upset him?
Right.
Like took away from the naturalness of it. So it's very mental for women.
Yeah.
And it's not so much for men. Like they could like flip a switch. They could be like crying 1 minute, 2 seconds later, they're like, you want to have sex? And you're like, what? Like women would be like, there's no way. Like there's no way a woman could be crying and then 2 seconds later be like, well, I was getting it on. Like, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that it couldn't lead to that, but it's not a switch.
But it's not a switch. It's a process that.
Well, I mean, that's why it's so important for foreplay with women, because it's a process.
Right.
You can't just like be like, all right, let's do it, you know, and then try to stick it in 2 seconds later. It's like, that's not how it works.
And this is the thing that guys don't get about this, which is that when they hear that it's a process, they think it's a physical process, as in lubricating the equipment. That's true, but that's not what you're talking about,
right?
Because it's a revving up the engine, the mental process. So it's not just, you can't solve this with KY.
Like that doesn't, just put some lube on. Like no,
that doesn't solve it. But it's that process, and it's also, I think, you know, correct me if I'm speaking wrong, but I'll give my translation of what I've learned as a man about women, but is that a lot of times it's a day-long process, not just a 15 minutes, you know, prior to the event. And it's a lifelong process in the sense that it's about the connection of the relationship. All right. So it's almost like, actually now I'm filling in some blanks here. See if this makes sense. Try this theory on. Women, in order to have sex or to want to have sex, they have to have closeness in the relationship.
I would say so.
Sex brings closeness in a relationship to the man. It does, I think, for both, but more so like that. And so that's where you can also get at a standstill, is that someone's got to bend, you know, to a degree. So, or both can meet in the middle is a good thing. But I think that is the other part of it too. So it's like it's the state of the relationship has to be in a good place in order, not to say that you can't, you know, but in order for it to really be, you know, something that a woman is in the mood for.
Right. Yeah. It takes a lot to get a woman in the mood. And even if she's trying to have some fun for the night, that is driven by something entirely different. Like that is driven by her just trying to find validation or feel a certain type of way, and because she's so down on herself and she doesn't have a partner. Right. But when you're in a relationship, it stems from the closeness. Like it's totally different. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like a one night stand is not about closeness. It's not about connection. It's not about like the romantic or whatever. It's about what she can get that feels like she's lacking in this like not best way. Because it's kind of like numbing your feelings with alcohol. That's what like one night stands are for women. It's like, yes, for the night you'll feel better about yourself in some way. Right. But the second that that's done, you've lost it again.
It's interesting that you say feel better about yourself, not feel good or feel better, because the object of that is to feel better about yourself in that case, which is.
I mean, I'm just being real. Like, I know a lot of women won't say that, but like, I could guess that a lot of women feel that way because that is what it is.
Right.
And, you know, at times when I've been at my lowest a long time ago, like I've made choices of getting attention from men, not because like I cared about that guy, but because I needed it for me. And that's not right. You know, like,
it's not good. No.
It's not healthy. It's not the right way to do it, but it will get you what you want temporarily. And that's why you have to work on yourself if you're in that situation, because you can never get it from men like that, like in those temporary situations. But in regards to like a relationship, it's about the connection. It's about the closeness. That's why, like, when I said, you know, when we didn't have it for 3 weeks, like we had never done that. So I didn't realize until we did that too, how it made me feel closer to you. Like I already knew that it made you feel closer to me.
Right. But
I didn't realize that it also did the same for me. Like not in the exact same way. But
in a different,
like it does add a level of closeness. And I mean, you're literally connecting together. Like that's what it is. And so I didn't realize how much I connected with you and how much I valued that. Like obviously I valued it.
Right. No, I know what
it's like you look at it in a different way. Like it's not just about doing the things like and going through the motions. It's about this actual experience, which a lot of people talk about, you know, that it should be this experience. Like it's going to have an effect on you and it should do that. And even the like more shallow things, you don't think that's going to affect you, but it does, like in the wrong way, because you're getting these things that you want temporarily, but you know, when you wake up the next day, you also feel crappy because you just used somebody basically for this thing, and like it wasn't a meaningful and intimate experience. You know, even if it wasn't necessarily bad, it's not with someone that you care about. It's not with someone that you love. It's not with someone that means something to you. So there is also this like kind of hangover after that of feeling bad.
I agree.
You know, so.